Hello, this is Eric Walczykowski, CEO of Bespoke Partners and host of Tailored Talent. Today, I'm joined by Katherine Baker, the co-lead of our CEO practice. Welcome, Katherine.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, excited to have you back. Much has changed in the last couple of months. We have a new year. I think 2023 was a very interesting year as we saw the lack of exits, the lack of new platforms, and it actually created some portfolio company bloat, perhaps. Our clients are holding anywhere between 10 and 25% more portfolio companies than they typically hold. And so all the great things we're hearing now is 2024 is the year of exits. But given all of that, how's that impacting the CEO leaders market?
You're right. In 2023, we saw a huge spike in turnover, especially within CEO, and that was running about 40% over the normal rate of turnover there. Look, a lot of firms were considering if they had the right CEOs in place. Market conditions and just where they needed is a big factor. Turnover spike has tapered off. So that's the good news. That said, this market is still very tight for experienced CEO talent. We have a track record of success. We've been through a couple turns and transactions. And look, I think indications are that this will continue into 2024. Hopefully, market and deal flow activity will pick up, but I still think the CEO talent market will continue to be quite tight.
Yeah, no doubt. And thinking about the tightness of it in a market where there's uncertainty, you might be looking at longer hold periods, needing that experienced operator at the table that knows how to guide a firm to exit, regardless of the market times. When you think about 2024 and the outlook, what is the market asking for in terms of CEO leaders? Or said another way, what type of CEO leaders are in demand?
So sitting CEO with go-to-market backgrounds and those who know how to grow profitably capital efficient companies is definitely where the market is right now and where the need is. About 50% of the executives that we're targeting are executives stepping up to the seat for the first time. So I do want to keep that top of mind and continue to encourage our clients and sponsors to really target that next layer down for those ready to step up. And then we're also seeing an interest in CEOs with M&A and roll-up experience. That's always been a pretty big part of the thesis, but given market valuations have come back down a bit, we expect to see deal flow pick up in terms of either acquisitions, add-ons, tuck-ins, et cetera. So do you think that will continue to be a big focus of the blend of go-to-market and M&A and operationally strong and disciplined are those that are most in demand right now?
Absolutely. It makes a ton of sense. I really appreciate you giving the plug for step-up candidates because as our research says, and as I like to say, numbers don't lie, step-ups have just as much chance of success as proven executives, not just based on probabilities, but actual facts that we've tracked our placements over our 12-year operating history in private equity software placing CEOs. And so I appreciate you pointing that out. When we think about the lack of exits in the market, talk to me a little bit about executive compensation for P&L leaders and then P&L leaders willing to make a move in this market.
There has been a huge focus on, gosh, where do I want to monetize my time? And if the exit has been pushed out 2 to 3 to 4 years, is there another opportunity or another deal where I can continue to have that type of transaction and wealth creation opportunity? That said, still think there's a pretty strong emphasis on executives that have a focus on cash comp. Since the value of the equity is dependent on the exit opportunities, we're in a very uncertain market right now. They're still, focused on cash, especially when you look at the executives who are stepping up to the seat for the first time. They may have not had that wealth creation opportunity to take a little bit more risk for the upside. And so there's still a big push there. And CEOs in particular have seen their projected equity value being affected and just underwater, lengthening hold periods, in the decline in valuation. So mainly because CEO comp is weighted towards equity greater than any other function. The average CEO package was about 26 times their OTE comp in earlier 2023. And in the latter part of the year, it did drop to about 20 times, which is just good. But there was a spike, has come down.
No, absolutely. And I think, again, when you think about uncertain times, people's willingness to make a move, we're after the top executives. I really think relationship, track record, brand, credibility come into play there. And that's lucky for us. We've been doing this for 12 years and have demonstrated and dominated as a premier brand in the space. And so good for us and our clients is the executives we're after are willing to take our call because they trust us, wouldn't you say?
I definitely say that. I'm biased, but yes, I think we do a fantastic job building the relationships. We have a brand name within private equity software. So executives, where travel's quick And the good news is executives are picking up our call either through a personal relationship or just the brand name of Bespoke.
So Katherine, when you think about the Bespoke Partners executive search practice, we have 5 different functions: P&L leaders, we have go-to-market, we have financial officers, we have product and tech, and of course, human capital. What is different about the P&L leaders market from the others?
Look, P&L and CEO, like CEO P&L, are always relatively in high demand. There's arguably no other role or function that has much impact on value creation. And so CEOs command an average of roughly 20% premium over other C-suite leaders in terms of cash comp, more than double in terms of projected equity payout other C-suite leaders. So there's definitely an expense for very strong P&L and CEO talent. I'd say there's unique challenges as well around founder transitions. Then often founders are in the CEO seat. At some point, they're going to taper out most likely. How do we ensure that we're bringing in the right executive for the company to scale to the next phase of growth? Another component of a lot of executive talent right now are taking on additional board seats. So either they haven't had a board seat before or they're on a few today. There's a component of more and more executives and CEOs want to have to take on a board seat and the flexibility to do so as well. And so it's a very natural step for CEOs who've had a couple of runs, very successful exits, to either take that on in parallel of an operating role or frankly, take on board seats as a full-time opportunity and stand down on operating roles. We've seen that as a trend over the last 18 to 24 months as well.
No doubt, makes a ton of sense. And I think that comes down to when we help our private equity firms frame their investment thesis, one of the big pieces that we're constantly challenging is, are you convicted in your P&L leader, your CEO? Because it's such a critical role in setting strategy. And the other thing to hit on with the board seats and the CEO actually taking a board seat outside of their operating role, I found in my career, it's actually beneficial to do that because you get a different perspective of what's going on in the industry, and you can bring that insight and knowledge back to the portfolio company that you actually are running. It's a trend that I've seen over the course of my career. It's actually something when I'm counseling boards and private equity firms, I actually encourage them to let their operating executives do that because I think it makes them better.
It allows them to flex a different muscle. Being the one steering and driving the ship is very different than influencing. And when you take on a board seat, you're influencing. You're not in the weeds every single day. So there's a different muscle that you're flexing that I think could be really applicable through an operating role and how do you influence through the rest of the leadership team as well.
Fantastic. Well, Katherine, I appreciate you hopping on today and giving us an outlook in some of the trends you're seeing in P&L leaders. Look forward to having you back next quarter.
Sounds great, Eric. Thank you so much.
Thank you.